welcome to What a Ghoul Wants. My name is Anna, I am your ghoul, and what I want is to talk about my horror movie DVD collection. Now, it's been a while since I released a video. The past 2 months have been really busy. For those who watch my channel, I did mention that I got married on Halloween of this year, so October was kind of a wild month for me, trying to plan for the wedding and get everything done. And I will talk more about that at the end of the video, but just a little reason for why I've had a little bit of a break on here. I also wanted to point out that I did get a new shirt. This is from Deep Cuts Merch, and it is Alice Sweet Alice, aka Communion, one of my favorite movies, and the reason why my Instagram handle is Anna Sweet Anna. If you want to follow me on there, you can see whenever I get a new shirt, I usually post about it. I absolutely love this shirt. It's so comfortable. I got a large just because I wanted one that was a little bit bigger. And the sleeves also have print on them, and they look so cool. I would absolutely buy from this company again. They have a Jennifer's Body long sleeve tee that I have my eye on. It's currently sold out, but I really want to get it if they re-release it. So I'm crossing my fingers that they do, because I totally love this shirt. Now I'm going to get into my DVD collection. Little disclaimer, it is a lot smaller than my VHS collection. For those who watched my channel, you'll know that I did 2 VHS collection videos. There's a part 1 and a part 2 that you can check out if you want to see what I have on VHS. But as far as DVDs go, I've really only gotten them as either gifts, or if I see one at a thrift store or, a secondhand shop that I'm like, ooh, I love that movie and I would like to have it on physical media, on DVD. Other than that, I don't really seek them out much. I literally just got a Blu-ray player for the first time ever. I've never had one. So I really want to start getting more into collecting Blu-rays, just so I have a higher quality version of the movie. If it's one that I really do want to own on physical media, that I want to have so that I can watch them on my nice TV. I love this little one, but, if I'm looking for quality, it's not really the thing to watch on. So, I'm very excited to start collecting more Blu-rays, and I did just order, I ordered this a while ago, but it's just going to come in December, the Severin release of the folk horror documentary directed by Kayla Janice, and it's called Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, and I should be getting that in the mail here in the next couple of weeks. It was a pre-order, so I'm just waiting for it to come in. And I was like, I really need a Blu-ray player anyway, so I want to get it so I can watch this Blu-ray, and I'm really excited to watch this documentary. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I really love folk horror and just want to learn more about it. So I will definitely let you all know when I do get that, and when I watch it, maybe I'll do a review on that. Let me know if you want to see that. But for now, I'm just going to be talking about the few DVDs that I do have. And we are starting off with a bang with Martyrs. This is the original New French Extremity movie. It's one of those that a lot of people avoid because it's so heavy and so dark, and it's a hard movie to watch for sure. I actually bought it on DVD because I could not find it streaming anywhere, and I really, really wanted to see it. I'd heard so much about it, and I really didn't want it to get spoiled, so I went ahead and got it on DVD so that I could watch it. And I am glad that I own it. I don't really know how much I'm going to rewatch it because it is such a heavy movie. I don't even want to say that I enjoyed it. I appreciated what the film did, but it's not an enjoyable watch by any means. It's definitely a very hard watch. So if you haven't seen it, I would say proceed with caution. But if you're willing to take on the heaviness that this film has to offer, it is rewarding. Like, I am glad that I watched it, but I just don't know when I'll rewatch it. Probably not for a while. Next up is Gremlins. I got this at a secondhand shop. I'm actually not the biggest fan of this movie. I did not see it as a kid, so I don't have any nostalgia attached to it. So there are definitely things about it that I don't quite like. The tone is a little weird. It kind of switches back and forth between, the darker elements and the comedy, and doesn't really quite know where to land, in my opinion. I do like it. I love Gizmo. I think he's just the cutest. And it is definitely a Christmas-themed, Christmas time movie that I like to watch. So that's why I got it on DVD, and I know it's so well loved in the horror community, so I will absolutely continue to watch it. It's just not quite one of my absolute favorites. One that is one of my favorites, though, is Get Out. This was from the same shop as Gremlins, and it is a slipcase, which is pretty cool. This movie, I think, honestly, is a perfect movie. I don't have any criticisms of this film. I think it is damn near perfect. All of the performances are out of this world. Just the story, the psychological elements. It's honestly, I would say, probably the best horror film to be released in the 21st century. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but I legitimately think that Jordan Peele is a genius. And I liked Us okay. It wasn't as good as Get Out for me. I will probably buy that on Blu-ray at some point, but I absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorites. I list it in my top 4 on Letterboxd. Go ahead and follow me on there if you aren't already. If you haven't seen Get Out yet, I highly recommend as soon as possible watch this movie. It is so, so good. Next is one that some people might not consider horror. I could see it billed as a thriller or, psychological thriller. There are some horrific elements, but Donnie Darko is one that the little emo kid inside me just loves it. It's been quite a while since I rewatched it, but I have seen it several times, and that's why I wanted to own it on DVD, because I knew it would be a semi-frequent rewatch for me. But, Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job. Who is the girl in it? Oh, yes, Jenna Malone. And there's so many other cameos. Like, we've got a young Ashley Tisdale in this movie. The guy from iCarly, I forget his name, the actor's name, but I'll put a picture of him up here. Drew Barrymore, we've got Patrick Swayze. It's just honestly a stacked movie, and conceptually it's really cool. And Frank is such an iconic horror, I'll just call him a horror icon in his bunny suit. Donnie Darko is definitely a frequent rewatch for me. And Sparkle Motion, if you've seen this movie.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
That part is just so funny. I love that. So, we got Donnie Darko. And next up, we have A Clockwork Orange. The first time that I tried to watch this movie, I couldn't get through it. For pretty obvious reasons. The singing in the rain scene is where I just fell off. And then for some reason, I was like, I gotta give it a second try. And I became slightly obsessed with it. I don't know what it is about this movie. It just has this certain quality that is absolutely fascinating and horrifying at the same time. And obviously, Kubrick is a fantastic director. Malcolm McDowell is absolutely unhinged in this, but his performance is completely amazing. Just the visuals, the guys in their all white outfits with the bowler hats. It's just... it is a really weird and pretty upsetting film, but I do really like it, and I haven't seen it in quite a while. I have to pick when I'm in the right mood for a rewatch, because, it is really heavy, but this movie, I just had to own it on DVD. I actually have quite a few very heavy movies on DVD, now that I'm thinking of it. So, Audition, the Japanese film from Takashi Miike. I had to get this on DVD again, I think, because I couldn't find it streaming, and I was like, I absolutely have to watch this movie. It's so iconic in the horror community, so I ended up getting it on DVD. This one is definitely more of a slow burn. The first half is more of a drama than anything, but when it pops off, it really pops off. This is another one that I haven't seen in quite a while, so I am due for a rewatch. Asami is one of the most iconic female horror villains in the genre. Her with that piano wire and those needles. Ooh, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I would say this is another one to proceed with caution. But if you don't mind some gore and some disturbing elements, then you absolutely have to see this movie. Next up is one of my faves, and this is Jennifer's Body. I've talked about this movie on my channel before. I just needed to own it because I knew that I would rewatch it pretty frequently. Megan Fox, enough said. Amanda Seyfried, enough said. It's so good, so fun. And I honestly don't think I will ever get tired of this movie. There are definitely some elements that haven't quite aged well, but overall, it's one that I will continue to go back to. It is kind of like a horror comfort movie for me, so of course I had to own Jennifer's Body. This next one is maybe the only horror movie that I own on DVD that I have not seen yet. It's Army of Darkness, and I actually haven't seen... some people are going to be like, oh no, this is horror blasphemy, but I haven't seen Evil Dead 2 yet. I have seen the original Evil Dead, but I haven't seen Evil Dead 2, and I really want to watch that before I watch this movie. So I know it's a continuation of the series, and, Bruce Campbell is in it again as Ash. I have heard it's more of kind of like a sci-fi adventure, more so than horror, at least compared to the Evil Dead movies, so I am interested to watch it still. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. So yeah, Army of Darkness. Next is another movie that's in my top 4 on Letterboxd, and that is American Psycho. This is another movie that I will never get tired of watching. Mary Herron's direction is incredible. The story and how it's a critique of the 80s, yuppie, materialistic culture and critique on misogyny and all of that. It's so good. Of course, Christian Bale is amazing as Patrick Bateman. His performance is one of the top horror performances of all time, in my opinion. He just carries off the comedy very well as the horror. He's terrifying in some scenes, but he also manages to be really funny in others. Yeah, this is another movie that is pretty damn near perfect to me. And I think it holds up 20 years later even. The cinematography is great. Yeah, just overall one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Next is a disc set. So actually, I misspoke earlier when I said that Army of Darkness was the only one I hadn't seen, because there are 3 discs in here, and one of them being Silence of the Lambs, which I have seen, and is also one of my favorite horror movies. To those who think it's just a thriller, sorry, you're wrong. Don't mean to call you out like that, but it is a horror movie. Anyway, so it also has Hannibal and Manhunter. I have not seen Hannibal or Manhunter, so those are 2 more movies in my horror collection that I have not seen, but I will definitely see those eventually. I actually just rewatched Silence of the Lambs in October. I don't really know, I haven't really paid attention to what people think of either of these, but if Anthony Hopkins is in Hannibal, then, I think that'll be good. And I don't really know much about Manhunter either, so I will keep you guys posted when I do watch those. I will definitely post on Letterboxd and let you know my reviews. Got another classic. We have Suspiria. This is one that I had heard so much hype around, and I hadn't seen it. And so, again, I bought it on DVD because I think it was also hard to find streaming at the time. Yeah, I am definitely glad that I own this movie. Visually stunning, absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, the colors, the cinematography. I love the score by Goblin. It is so weird. And Jessica Harper does an amazing job as Susie, our lead. It is a really weird, really narratively confusing movie in a lot of ways. It doesn't make a ton of sense, which it's an Argento film, so you just know his films are going to be like that. So if you go in with that knowledge, then you can just experience this film. It's just a very sensory experience. And it's very dreamlike. It's very fairy tale-like. I think I had heard that he had based it somewhat on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so it makes a lot of sense. Susie is our Snow White, and she is dropped into this weird ballet school full of witches, and the kills are really good. We get some very, very giallo-esque kills, even though some people don't consider this a giallo. But either way, it's definitely one I'm going to go back to. I've not seen the remake, so that is still on my watch list. And I have heard some mixed reviews for that as well. Some people like it better than the original. Some people like the original better. So I just have to watch that and form my own opinion. But very glad that I own Suspiria on DVD. Coming up next is the original Carrie. Sissy Spacek absolutely embodies the role of Carrie so well. She makes her such a sympathetic character, and you can really see how affected she is by the bullying and by the stuff happening at home with her mom. Piper Laurie is really scary as her mother, and I think she does a really, really good job of coming across as this just terribly troubled and disturbed woman who is taking it out on her daughter. And the special effects in this movie really hold up. De Palma's direction is great. There are maybe a few things that don't age well. Some argue that the beginning scene with all the girls showering in the locker room is a little unnecessary. But this is definitely undeniably a classic, and the remake was just an atrocity. I saw that in theaters and I was like, wow, this does not hold a candle to the original. So I just really had to own this on DVD. And I do really hope that I can get a VHS copy of this soon. I would love to have it on that format as well. Next up is Trick or Treat. This is another slipcase. I do like this cover. It's a little holographic. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, I've only seen this one time, actually. I did have it on my watch list for October. I made a list of one horror movie a day for the month of October, and this was my final movie for the 31st. Of course, I was getting married on the 31st, like I said, so I was not able to watch this, but I do remember liking it a lot, and I know a lot of people cite this as one of their favorite horror anthology movies, so I will rewatch it soon because I do need a refresher on it. Sam is iconic. I love his look and his little lollipop that he carries around. So yeah, I am very glad that I own it, and it will definitely be one that I rewatch maybe every year around Halloween, as it just really has that good fall Halloween vibe to it. Next is Saw, and I'm pretty sure this is the only movie that I have on both DVD and VHS at the moment. Let me see if I can find my VHS copy. Yep, so here they are, same cover and everything. The back is the same. I do like this movie. It's not one that I watch super often, and I have only seen the first, I want to say 3 in the franchise, and I think it's not quite my favorite. The whole aspect of Jigsaw and what he does and the traps is very interesting, but I think after so many movies, it can get a little repetitive. But it's definitely one of those horror classics that I will revisit, and I am glad that I have it on physical media. Man, I've got a lot of bangers. Next is Psycho, the original, of course. Not that godforsaken remake version, which I just tried to watch. Keyword tried, because I did not get through it. It is literally shot for shot, and I don't know how they managed to make it so much worse than the original. It's just a bizarre piece of cinema. Would not recommend watching that. Would absolutely recommend watching the original because it is one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. That shower scene, everybody knows. Anthony Perkins' performance is just incredible. This is one that I do rewatch pretty frequently. I have yet to see any of the sequels. I honestly think I would probably like them, even though I know they're a bit more schlocky than the original. But yeah, I definitely would like to watch 2 and 3. And is there a 4th one? I don't remember. But yep, Psycho. Next up is a 4-disc set of the Nightmare series. So this is 1 through 4. I would really love to get the rest of the series on DVD at some point. And I would really love to get the full set on VHS, where it's Freddy on all the spines. So each spine makes up part of him. And when they're all together, you can just see the image of him. I absolutely love that. But I am glad that I have them on DVD so that I can watch them if they go off streaming or anything like that. Number 1 is probably my favorite, but I do really love 3. And 2 is pretty fun as well. 4, 5, and 6 is where it starts to get a little iffy for me. But I would absolutely like to have the whole set on DVD at some point. Next up is Sleepy Hollow. I actually just got this. It's one that I always try to watch every year. My husband actually really likes it, and so we try to watch it around Halloween. On this rewatch this year, I realized that it's really not a very good movie. It is very beautiful. It's beautifully shot. The costuming is beautiful, but story-wise, it kind of falls apart at the end. It does have a very stacked cast, that's for sure. Tim Burton is not my favorite person. He's not quite my favorite director. I used to like him a lot when I was younger, but now I'm realizing that he's a little bit problematic just in the ways that he casts his films. His films are not very diverse, and he excuses not putting people of color in his films because it doesn't match his aesthetic, which is obviously problematic, so... But I did buy this secondhand just so we would have it if we want to rewatch it during Halloween. So y'all, that is actually it for my horror DVD collection. Like I said, I don't have that many on DVD, and I probably won't get a ton from now on. I will probably switch over to Blu-ray now that I have a Blu-ray player. So I'll definitely keep you updated on that, and maybe once I accumulate some Blu-rays and maybe even 4Ks, I will do another collection video on those. And I will also try to update you if I do get some more VHS tapes. VHS hunting has been a little slow for me lately. I haven't had much luck on Facebook Marketplace, so I will be doing another VHS video as soon as I collect a decent amount of new VHS tapes. So keep an eye out for that. And I just want to talk a little bit about my wedding. It was so fun. It was just the best time ever. I mean, everybody obviously thinks that about their own wedding, but not only was it on Halloween, which is my favorite holiday, it was at an old movie theater, and we were actually able to play some old horror movies on a projector during the reception, which was so cool. So they had a stage, and we had live music, and the projector screen was behind the band, so it was kind of cool, just added to the atmosphere. The first part of the wedding was more of like a vow renewal traditional ceremony type thing, where we dressed in normal, dressy wedding clothes, but for the reception, me, my husband, and my bridal party changed into Halloween costumes. I was the bride of Frankenstein, of course, and he was Frankenstein's monster. And actually all the guests were encouraged to dress in costume as well, and a decent amount of them did. So it was really funny looking out from the stage while we were saying our vows and seeing people in different costumes. It was really fun. And then we were able to change into ours for the reception, and the bridal party entered while Monster Mash was playing. There was a flash mob performance of Thriller, which was amazing. That was a surprise. We didn't know that was going to happen. So it was absolutely just the best night ever. I would highly recommend, if you're a spooky person like me and you have the ability to get married on Halloween, I have literally no regrets about having a costume party wedding. It was so memorable and so fun. So yeah, I hope now that that is over, I'll have some more time to produce some more content, hopefully do some more movie reviews and some wrap-ups for the movies that I've watched during the month, so keep an eye out for that. I'll have all of my socials linked below if you want to follow me there. And like this video if you feel inclined, and subscribe to the channel so you can see all the new stuff that I post in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of November. Thanks again, and we'll talk horror next time.